If the One Piece live action pulls off the impossible and is actually a successful adaptation, what does that mean for the future of the series?
Will there be more seasons? What could those seasons look like?
And how will it affect One Piece in the West?
Expectations for the live action are all over the place. Some people like myself are still holding out hope and others are rightfully worried. But if you've been keeping up with all of my videos on the live action, you know that it's pretty much good news all around. The cast is great, the writers are actually fans, and they have a huge budget. Oda is even an executive producer. We are constantly getting set leaks of really promising visuals, which we should expect to be great even if everything else falls off. So let's say for the sake of this video that the One Piece live action succeeds. What happens next? If successful, one thing that I think is definitely fair to speculate on is more seasons, at the very least a season 2. So let's take a quick peek under the curtain to see what future seasons could look like and what issues they could run into. This is the season that's being filmed right now and covers all of the contents in the East Blue Saga leading up to right before the Straw Hats enter the Grand Line. Not much else left to say. This season will probably be the only other season that's structured very similarly to the first, because after Alabasta, most of the sagas are pretty much all mega arcs. Alabasta itself is Oda's first long arc, so I would assume it would take up most of the season. Reverse Mountain and Whiskey Peak, both relatively short arcs, would kick off the journey in episode 1. Little Garden and Drum Island will probably take up 2 episodes each, leaving 5 episodes to flesh out Alabasta. Maybe Drum Island can get 3 episodes to really flesh out Chopper. Speaking of Drum Island, everybody's talking about how Chopper is gonna look with CG and stuff, but I'm more curious about Wapol. Like, how are they gonna make his ridiculous looking character work? It's a little worrisome. Given the right attention or attention to detail, I think Skypiea has the most potential of being the best season out of the first 3. It also gives us the most parallels to the overarching antagonists like Blackbeard and the Rulers of the World. Not only that, but the majestic feel of the Sky Islands I feel would look absolutely incredible if the right amount of work is put into the CGI. They could even give a little wink to the fans by really emphasizing the importance of the Sun God. We know so much now about Skypiea that we didn't know before, and that's a huge advantage for the writers. This season would consist of Long Ring Longland, Water 7, Enies Lobby, and Post Enies Lobby, where I do think we get one of the best lore dumps in the entire series. I think the Davy back fight will need to be toned down a little bit, but Long Ring Longland could still make for a very good first episode. We already have Anaki training for Afro Luffy. I don't know if they're gonna decide to include Thriller Bark in this season or the next one, but for now, I'm just gonna assume that this season stays purely focused on Robin and the Water 7 saga. The main lesson of Thriller Bark and this season in general is to set a tone for the new world and to make it very clear that the Straw Hats aren't ready for it. I really don't think they need to spend too much time on Thriller Bark, maybe like 2 episodes tops. Episode 3 and 4 can focus on Sabaody with the introduction of the Celestial Dragons and the end of episode 4 sending Luffy off to Amazon Lily. Episode 5 would be Luffy gaining the trust and passionate affection of Boa and then going off to save Ace. Episode 6 and 7 would be the infiltration and escape of Enies Lobby. Episode 8 would kick off the war at Marineford and end with Ace's death. Episode 9 could start with the death of Whitebeard, return of Shanks, and Ace's or Luffy's second backstory starting off at the end of the episode. Episode 10 would be the conclusion to that backstory, an update on the rest of the Straw Hat crew, and of course Luffy ringing the bell signaling the start of the 2-year time skip. But wait, Chessie, we have a problem. There are people watching right now who aren't subscribed.
He won't feed me until you subscribe.
Look at the people who aren't subscribed. Tell them to subscribe.
Please.
And don't forget to leave a comment letting me know you're subscribed so I can welcome you personally to the Alliance. But we do have another very real problem, and that's aging. The amount of time the Straw Hats spend together pre-time skip is less than a year. However, at this point, the Netflix series will be at least 5 to 6 years old. Most of the actors of the original 5 Straw Hats will be in their late 20s or early 30s. I think a great example of the point I'm trying to make is Tobey Maguire, who by the time Spider-Man 3 came around was in his 30s still trying to play a kid in college. It can definitely be pulled off for sure, but I know fans will definitely take notice of it. Maybe they will change the timeline of events in the story in a way that helps the aging make sense, or maybe they'll rely mostly on makeup and effects to keep the actors closer to their teenage years. Okay, so I actually had some trouble putting this one together. Return to Sabadi and the journey to Fishman Island on episode 1. Then episodes 2 through 5 will be on Fishman Island, and episodes 6 through 10 will be on Punk Hazard, with the ending starting the Four Emperors saga and teasing Doflamingo for the next season. Since Dressrosa was really only a single day in real time, I wanted to try and fit it into this season, but there is just way too much material to squeeze in. One thing to keep in mind is that Fishman Island and Punk Hazard are two of the least acclaimed arcs, so they will definitely need to go all out to make this season work. While writing the script, I was debating giving Dressrosa its own entire season because before Wano, it really is the longest arc in the series. But after thinking about it for a while, I realized that the contents in Dressrosa can absolutely be reduced and still work. Now this is one of the most important things right here. RRF. Reduce, Rebecca, flashbacks. I think she gets something like 13 in the anime and 4 in the manga. You can easily reduce that to 1 or 2 quick flashbacks and make it work. Another big part of the reason Dressrosa was so long was because of how many characters were introduced in it. I know we have to establish the Grand Fleet, but we don't need to focus too much on each specific gladiator or each officer of the Doflamingo family, except for Senior Pink. He's the only exception. Alright, so here's how this can work. Episode 1. We get to Dressrosa, meet Admiral Fujitora and the Tontatas. Luffy enters the Colosseum, Rebecca, the toy soldier, and Kyros are established. Episode 2. We meet the main characters in the Grand Fleet. We also learn of the underground factory as well as Dressrosa's true history from King Riku. The alliance is formed, a plan is made, and Usopp and Robin make their way to the Smile Factory. The other Straw Hats get ambushed on the Sunny and are forced to leave for Zoe. Sabo is introduced at the end. Episode 3. The Colosseum battle concludes and everybody is gunning for Doflamingo. This is also the episode where Usopp becomes God Usopp. Law is shown in captivity after being shot, and this is when we get his flashback. Episode 4. The final battle against Doflamingo takes place. The birdcage is activated. We get Kyros's and Rebecca's backstory during the fight against Diamante. The episode ends with Luffy defeating Doflamingo and the start of his flashback. Episode 5. Doflamingo's flashback, the establishment of the Grand Fleet, and the journey to Zoe. Zoe only needs to be 1 episode. The rest of the season, episodes 7 through 10, are all Whole Cake Island. Although at this point, if we really do make it that far, I feel like the showrunners are better off giving more runtime to the seasons, that way they could better flesh out the story. I mean, I tried to fit all of the contents of Dressrosa into a 10 episode format, but 12 would honestly be a lot better, 13 even better than that. 6 episodes for Dressrosa, 1 episode for Zoe, and another 6 for Whole Cake Island just seems like it would work a lot better. I honestly feel very similarly about Wano. I mean, Wano isn't even done yet, and it's already longer than Dressrosa and Zoe combined. I feel like Wano just needs an entire season for itself. I know I'm reaching super far ahead, and the chances of us actually getting that many seasons isn't super likely, but it was still fun to put it all together. If One Piece Netflix does actually succeed, it has the opportunity to create a product where fans and newcomers to the series have a completely new and immersive way to experience the story. It could potentially undo a lot of the damage that 4Kids did to One Piece in the West, and it has the potential to bring in new fans who might be skeptical about starting the anime or reading the manga due to length or some other reason. They could watch the first season of the Netflix adaptation and just be like, yo, if this is what One Piece is, I gotta start it now. If it succeeds, it really does have the potential to set a new standard for all other live action adaptations across the board. And maybe fans like us can finally have peace of mind knowing that good adaptations are possible and achievable in the West. Dear live action skeptics, I know in the past you've been let down. I know how hard it was, you know, the days of Dragon Ball Evolution, Death Note, Ghost in a Shell, and recently Cowboy Bebop. It's good to manage your expectations. It's also understandable to be worried, but this time I genuinely feel like we are getting something unique, something that will be different. Even if it isn't crazy mind-blowing or anything, I really feel like it still has the potential to be one of the best adaptations we've ever gotten. If you've made it this far, first of all, thank you, but if you want to know why I think the One Piece live action actually has a chance of succeeding, I really recommend you start off with this video right here.